all of this time in Nebraska that he's been there, he's gone 16-31. In the Big Ten, he hadn't done anything. And it has been embarrassing for Nebraska, Cornhusker Nation, and anyone else affiliated with the program, whether they have gone there or not. Hey, if you like this kind of content, how about subscribing to our channel if you haven't done that yet? Do us that solid and take care of that business. Subscribe to the channel, hit the alarm bell, that way you get all of our drops. Also, I'm trying to get to my first 1,000 subscribers, so if you can help along with that, go ahead and do that too. So,
what are we waiting for?
Yo, this is Trav with Trav Sports Bag, and I'm back at it again today with you, and we're getting into some sports. You already know what it's all about. The college football season is upon us. The NFL season is now upon us. This is a sports channel, and I know if you looked at this sports channel for some time, you've seen a lot of boxing. It skewed it a little bit. It made you think this was a boxing channel, but we do sports. And now that these seasons are upon us with basketball also coming up, we're going to be getting into some sports a little bit more consistently now. But I know why you're here. You know why you're here. You saw the thumbnail, and that thumbnail said, Scott Frost fired. And here's why. I'm going to give you the why should be in just a little while. But Scott Frost, the prodigal son of Nebraska, is no more in terms of being the head coach of the program. He has been fired. He should have been fired last year, but they gave him a little bit of a reprieve, and he got fired today, which is Sunday. 3 games into the season, and the straw that broke the camel's back, we already know what it was. Georgia Southern beating them 45-42 in Lincoln. That's unacceptable to the Cornhusker Nation. It just could not continue. And regardless of being the prodigal son, regardless of being a former national champion quarterback, he had to be let go. And I do understand that. But let's see where it all began. We're not going to make this long, but we know that he came from the University of Central Florida. In 2 seasons, he was 19-7. He went 13-0 in a season in which they claimed they were the national champions, and there were some who may have agreed with it. They beat the team who won the national championship, because in that undefeated season, they beat Auburn in the bowl game. Auburn had beaten Alabama that same year, and Alabama won the national championship. So there was a real argument to be made. Of course, the masses did not agree, but there were people out there who at least made somewhat of a case. Mostly people from UCF, but it was what it was. The University of Central Florida was undefeated, and they made a serious claim to the title. They forced change, though, when it came down to the national championship regardless. See, the Nebraska prodigal son, which Scott Frost is, won a championship back in 2018. He could not duplicate the success that he had at UCF, which should have been easier, but obviously easier said than done when he got to Nebraska. All of this time in Nebraska that he's been there, he's gone 16-31. In the Big Ten, he hadn't done anything. And it has been embarrassing for Nebraska, Cornhusker Nation, and anyone else affiliated with the program, whether they have gone there or not. Nebraska and Lincoln, they are a proud group of people, a very big, dedicated group of people, and they take pride in their football program. That is the franchise of the state, regardless of what any other sport may do, regardless of what any other team may do. In Nebraska, Nebraska Cornhuskers football rules the roost in Nebraska. That's just the way it is. Nebraska dropped, as I said, to 1-2 this season, losing their last game subsequently or consequently. Scott Frost getting fired because of that game to Georgia Southern, but they lost their first game against Northwestern of the Big Ten when they were favored by double digits. Now, of course, they were also favored against Georgia Southern, and we see how it all turned out. Scott Frost did not become a champion or anything close to it, or even just a good coach when it came down to coaching at his alma mater. See, he couldn't get his team on track. The previous 2 seasons, he had an excuse. There was a 6-14 record built in because of COVID. Every coach got a bit of a reprieve. Even students got a reprieve. Student athletes, players got a reprieve because they were able to super seniorize or super duper juniorize, whatever their standing was when they were in college, so they didn't have to leave. They got another year of eligibility because of the pandemic. But that was not enough for Scott Frost because he still couldn't get the job done. He did not move the needle on the Cornhusker meter. That's it, and that's what you need to do. It's a high-pressure job, but it's worth it when these people like you, they love you. And they love them for the championship, but they wanted to love you as a coach, and it didn't happen. It didn't go that way. And let me tell you why I think it did not go that way. Scott Frost won at the University of Central Florida because George O'Leary, who was there before him, recruited a bunch of Floridians, very good Floridians for the level of football they were playing. And they were able to win. So Scott Frost was there for 2 years. So those weren't his players. Those were still George O'Leary's players. And George O'Leary, let's not forget, he was losing at the end. That's how Scott Frost had gotten his opportunity. Scott Frost took those players. He showed that he could take the talent that's already there and make something out of it. That's how you ended up getting 13-0 out of that mix. However, it takes more than that to win on a grand scale in a major conference, which is the Big Ten. He did not bring those same Floridians that had helped the Nebraska program in past years. And that's my opinion. I think the state of Florida, pound for pound, probably the #1 state in the entire country when it comes to high school football. Of course, you could say per capita, it'll be somewhere else. Perhaps Louisiana, as I've seen, or even Mississippi. But we're talking about the overall numbers. Florida, the 3rd largest state in the country. We have a lot of football in this state, and they're all over the country in terms of the players that go and help out other teams that aren't in the state of Florida. The reason why I believe this, even though Texas is doing well with their players, and we know about their Friday night lights, we know about their rabid fan base, we know about the religion of football in Texas, but in 40 years, there's only one national championship, and that's the one Vince Young brought to them after beating USC. And that's the flagship school of the state of Texas, the University of Texas. Texas A&M is the secondary school, and they haven't won anything as long as we can remember without a leather helmet. When you look at the state of Florida, there are 3 flagship teams. There's Miami, Florida State, and Florida. 11 national championships in those same 40 years. The majority of those rosters coming from the state of Florida, like most rosters from a particular state. It speaks for itself. Case closed in that regard. That's why I say he should have made more inroads to the state of Florida for the top quality players, not just a Floridian just to have one on your roster. The top quality players from the state of Florida, the ones that can change a program, the one that Tom Osborne saw when they weren't winning or had not won anything since the 70s, and he came to Florida and he took out Tommy Frazier. And Tommy Frazier brought that team back to prominence, brought it back to glory, won 2 national championships there. That's what that Florida power had done. And Tom Osborne knew it because he also sprinkled the roster with a few more Floridians to help out along the way. And those teams kept up the winning ways. That same team that ended up beating the Miami Hurricanes too in the national championship game that was filled with Floridians and Miami players all together. We know that. So this is what he did not do. Go to the state of Florida, really put your imprint in there. And also, we know about the Nebraska's walk-on program. We know about the proud tradition of walk-ons at Nebraska. I don't know what the status is of it, but he obviously is not doing the job that Tom Osborne had done when people just grow up as Cornhusker fans and want to go to Nebraska as a walk-on and give their all and eventually get a scholarship and become a part of a team that may be in championship contention. That wasn't what happened at all with Scott Frost at the helm. Floridians missing, top Floridians missing. It's not just a Nebraska thing. Look at what USC did when Carson Palmer was a talented quarterback but didn't have anyone to throw the ball to, and USC wasn't winning. They came to Florida. They took out Mike Williams as a wide receiver. Carson Palmer became a Heisman Trophy winner and the #1 pick overall in the NFL draft. And the rest is history. We know what these Floridians do, and Scott Frost did not do it. He did not come here to get and compete against the top schools in Florida for those top players. He neglected it, and because of it, He's on the unemployment line, but don't feel bad for him because there's a lot of financial compensation. But I'm sure when you come back as a prodigal son, it's just as much as your heart as it is the money. And the sting in your heart for being fired by your alma mater has to hurt. The money can help, but that pride has to hurt. The people who probably don't like you as a coach that used to love you as a player, they're hurt. Tom Osborne brought this team to prominence with the Floridians, and Scott Frost did not follow suit in the same way. Sprinkle of little Floridians here and there, and you won't get the result Tom had. You have to go after the biggest, the best, and the baddest. You didn't do that, especially competing in the Big Ten, which is not the Big 12 or the Big 8. Scott Frost, your time is up. You'll get an opportunity at another time, but probably not at a prestigious program like Nebraska. I'm sorry it didn't work out for you, but that's just how it goes. I'm Trav with Yo Trav Sports Bag. If you like this kind of content, leave a comment down, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. Let this message get out to everybody else because I'm coming after you all this year with as much college football, pro football, boxing, basketball. And I'm still lying about baseball, but I think I'll get there too because I have a few more months before it's over in baseball. Until next time.